All right, this next episode of True Wrestling Fans Discussions, continuing our retro pay-per-view review series, is going to be In Your House 4. I'm your host, Mike.
I'm Frank. Let's jump right into it, man. October 22nd, 1995, from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Roughly 10,339 on hand for this. This is a bigger crowd than they normally would have at the past In Your Houses. This card wasn't, bad. It was pretty stacked. This was also going to lead into Survivor Series. Now that Bret Hart has been deemed the number one contender, finally Vince stopped wasting his time for the whole year, and the man's going to be back in the title contention.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's no Undertaker this night because Undertaker had that orbital bone injury at the hands of Mabel.
Yep.
So
is the middle of the losing streak that Diesel is on, because remember he lost the tag match, excuse me, on Raw. And then now it's leaked over into this, so his cool attitude is starting to shift. Yeah. So our opening match was Mr. Make a Difference, Fatu, versus Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
Yep, which was a dark match. I think on the previous In Your House it was a dark match. Yeah.
So, and this would later become I Did It for The Rock.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is before he did it for The Rock.
Watching it now is actually fun. It's funny because I'm like, okay, in like 5 years, this is total, or 4 years, this is totally going to change between these two.
It's kind of wild, right? I thought the buildup was funny when Triple H had like some. It wasn't like arrogance, but it was kind of like he had a cologne or a perfume that he sprayed,
like a Rick Martel.
Because he said, yeah, because like he stunk. He said that he stunk or whatever. So,
that actually would have been a good manager to do for Helmsley starting out. If they were going to go with that, have the model Rick Martel resurface as a manager, considering all that. Yeah. I thought of that during this. Obviously, you didn't think about that back then. Yeah. But, it wasn't a bad match.
Right.
Helmsley gets the victory. He missed his splash off the top rope. Helmsley gets to put some in the pedigree, gets the victory in an 8-minute match. The funny part about the aftermath of this was Lawler was interviewing Hunter Hearst Helmsley. And lo and behold, here comes Henry Godwin, because now they've got their feud going.
Yeah, God.
And Godwin wound up chasing Helmsley with the slop. It was funny. It's whatever. I thought the match wasn't bad. It showed what Helmsley, the potential that he has going forward. Fatu, I like this wrestling as a head shrink. As the gimmick, I didn't like so much. They were always kind of re-gimmicking, and it's unfortunate that he didn't get the right gimmick until his career was almost at an end.
Pretty much. So
our next match was for the WWE Tag Team Championships, the Smoking Guns versus Razor Ramon and the Crybaby 1-2-3 Kid.
Yeah, two babyface teams.
Well, we knew where this was heading.
Yeah, I mean they had made up. I guess 1-2-3 Kid and Razor had like squashed their beef. But
yeah, you could tell. Remember, they had the Monday Night Raw match. Then and then Kid comes out the last In Your House and gets involved in Razor's match. Ridiculously counting
which was stupid. Yeah, I was like, what was the point of that? That didn't make any sense. And that's funny because Razor's fighting the same night. They had already announced that Razor would be fighting for the IC title.
Yeah,
the same night. Gorilla Monsoon had already announced it. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting that he's getting two title shots.
So now he's not coming out as a double champion.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
excuse me.
It was. I mean, I guess it was possible, but you had seen this before, like the falling out, like of two.
Brett and Owen comes to mind. With
this.
All of a sudden they make up and they go for a tag team title shot.
Yeah.
And this is real funny because, Razor, he gets the Razor's edge. He's got the match won. All of a sudden, he wants to be tagged in. So Razor's like, all right, whatever. Tags him in. Kid comes into the ring, gets rolled up for the 1-2-3,
and then he blames Razor.
Exactly. So this is where it all goes to crap for him.
I've spoken about this before. I never liked the 1-2-3 Kid as a heel. It didn't work for me. X-Pac, yes.
It didn't.
6-Pac, yes. 1-2-3 Kid, no. Didn't work for me.
No, he had more attitude and more gumption. Once he left WWE and went to WCW and became 6,
he grows the beard out. He
got more aggressive.
It's like
trying to keep up with the guys, but of course somebody said he couldn't cut the mustard.
Yeah,
but yeah, I got to agree. He didn't do well as a heel.
It just didn't work as 1-2-3 Kid. No, then this just sets up the feud with Razor, which was garbage.
And what makes matters worse is when they put him with Ted DiBiase. Now they're trying to say that he's the big badass of the
Right. Yeah.
corporation.
Yeah.
Now you're saying that he's more big than Sid? I mean, come on.
Corporation was on its last legs, though. I think.
It really was
Yeah.
at this point because, it just wasn't working anymore.
Yeah.
So, our next match following this one was Marty Jannetty versus the debut of Goldust. And I got to admit, when I first saw this character back then, I thought, what the hell is Vince thinking? What is? I knew who it was. It was Dustin Rhodes, but the whole transformation into the drag queen persona, I was like, wow, this isn't going to last. Who would have thought 20 years later he would
Yeah.
still be going?
It took a while, but it worked.
I think about
Yeah.
a year.
Yeah, it took a while.
After the backlot brawl, I
Yeah.
started taking him for
Yeah.
real because that right after that, then he had the feud with Warrior, then he had the feud with the Undertaker. So now I'm like, okay, it's not that bad. And then when he became a fan favorite,
Yeah.
I started enjoying it a little bit more. But I mean, Marty Jannetty was, I mean, he had just returned here, where probably in rehab, who knows. But he held his own in the match. But of course, debuting guy is
Oh
going to
yeah.
get the victory, and curtain call,
Pretty
Marty's
much.
down, one, Goldust wins the match.
One. Um, you know what I found annoying? Doc Hendricks selling stuff. This whole pay-per-view, he's selling
Well,
stuff.
I think they fired the other crackhead they had.
Yeah, I know, but it's just. I mean, we talked about this. It's just a waste of
I
Michael
think doing it
Hayes.
during the pay per view was a waste.
Yeah, it was annoying, and it was just like, what is? I'm like, this is what he's been reduced to.
Yeah, he should
Michael
have
Hayes is
been into the
selling
manager
merch.
role.
Yeah,
He did commentary every so
he did,
often,
but
but his voice just to me just on doing commentary on Raw just no.
you know,
But yeah, reducing him to selling T-shirts for $20. Yeah, I got to agree with that. I mean,
so
he's doing what Todd Pettengill was doing. So, and I don't understand it. Michael
Michael
Hayes,
Hayes, yeah,
he didn't. It wasn't too long before that he retired.
yeah, one of the best tag team, part of one of the best tag teams of all time.
Absolutely, yes.
You
And I
changed his
really, I
name.
really did want one more match from just so Michael Hayes
Yeah,
wrestled in WWE, not the gimmick battle royal in WrestleMania 17, an actual Freebirds tag team match in WWE.
yeah. I know his health. I think his back was messed up at that point or something. But either way, I just felt like, Doc Hendricks. I was stupid. So,
Well, look what they did to the other half of the Midnight Express, Stan Lane. I mean, they have him doing Superstar line. I mean, this is what Vince would do to the guys that came from there. Unfortunately,
it makes no sense.
it is. Our next match was made by a Gorilla Monsoon because both these guys were responsible for injuring the Undertaker, and it was Yokozuna versus Mabel. And I like this match.
Heel versus heel.
This is the where's the
Yeah.
beef match.
Did you see though when they were bringing out Mabel? It looked like he was like tipping over because he
Yeah,
weighs so much.
he was struggling.
These guys that were carrying him, I felt bad for them.
Uh-huh.
And it looked like it was uneven. Like one side was, they looked like
that throne is not light either.
No.
So imagine that's about 50 to 70 pounds.
Oh Jesus!
Plus Porky.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about almost 600 pounds. That guy
King
Yokozuna
Mabel.
wasn't king.
Right, King Mabel. Yeah.
I mean, these two guys were, behemoths. It wasn't a bad match. People didn't boo it. They were into it. Excuse me. It ended in a double count out. And then what's funny is at the end, Cornette's getting involved, Mo's getting involved, they each being pushed, and all of a sudden they hug it out. I'm like, okay. So they put the match on to appease Gorilla Monsoon, and then they just did their thing at the end.
And they're like, we're all friends.
Yeah.
So that was
So our next match was a heartbreaker for me. No pun intended. It was for the Intercontinental Championship. It was supposed to be Shawn Michaels versus Dean Douglas. Now everybody knows the story of what happened. Shawn goes to the bar, Buffalo, with the Bulldog and 1-2-3 Kid. Razor and Diesel are off doing the show somewhere else, so he doesn't have the actual backup with him. Messes with a couple of Marines girls, thinking he's still in character, and gets a 9-on-1 beating, which I thought was very cowardly of them. a
Yeah,
9-on-1.
supposedly, like he was passed out in the car, and they dragged him out of the car, and they beat him up, and then Bulldog was stuck in the back seat because it was like a two-seater, so Bulldog couldn't get out, and supposedly the 1-2-3 kid was so drunk that he throws a kick and completely misses.
It wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah,
With him, it wouldn't
I
have
mean,
mattered.
yeah, well, I mean, either way, but
It's 9
those
against 2.5.
guys, allegedly those Marines or whoever they were, they're lucky that it wasn't that Nash and Hall weren't there because
Seriously.
that would have been a bad night for them.
And even Helmsley, because I think Helmsley was with
Yeah.
them too.
Yeah, that would have been a bad night for
But
those
I mean,
guys.
come on,
But
even if it's just Sean, 9 against 1.
yeah, I know. But you know when
What is this?
alcohol's involved and stuff like that. Not to make any excuses because you don't
Yeah.
just stomp a guy out like that. Shoot go 1-on-1 or something like that. But whatever. Either way, Sean is injured and he can't get medically cleared. I think he was concussed or whatever other injuries have. So then, instead of them just waiting for Sean to heal and have him drop the title, they come up with this brilliant idea for him to vacate the title and give the heel the belt by not even fighting.
It should have just been vacant.
It should have just been vacant.
You have a 1-on-1 match for it.
Right, exactly.
Not proclaim Dean Douglas as the Intercontinental Champion.
Yeah.
For the next 11 minutes.
And you know Sean hated Dean Douglas, Shane Douglas, so he was never going to put him over. So that's probably part of it.
Yeah, you got to wonder what if the match actually did happen.
Right. What would have happened, right? So
was Dean supposed to originally? See, nobody knows because I honestly never even looked this up to find out. Was Dean originally supposed to get over anyway?
Bruce Pritchard won't give you a straight answer about this.
Naturally.
Because you got to wonder. They were supposed to fight. Was he going to put him over, or were they going to? I don't know. Either way, yeah, he comes in the belt and he
Dean grabs Douglas it out of his hand,
snatches it, and then Sean looks like he's going to cry. And they actually remember they showed this footage in that video. It was an awful video. Tell Me a Lie. Remember that the video? Tell Me a Lie with Shawn Michaels when he was coming back and he was injured and
And as a result of what happened here, he decided to use that in a storyline going forward.
Right.
Collapsing in the ring.
You gotta wonder too. Like, I don't think he was gonna put Dean Douglas over. So was he gonna go into? So no, he hated him. So was he gonna go into WrestleMania as a champion, and it would have been title for title, like when Warrior fought Hogan?
I think maybe he would have
versus Brett. Even though they had fought champion versus champion at Survivor Series, the match that never happened according to WWE history. Like they don't even talk about it.
Yeah.
But only at that time, only one belt. It was Brett's belt was on the line. So you got to wonder if it was going to be champion versus champion at WrestleMania, which could have been cool. Iron Man match, champion versus champion. We'll never know.
But either that, or does he drop it maybe to Owen Hart? Later on,
or something. Yeah, like an in between. I don't know.
Because it wouldn't have been another Razor Shawn match.
Right. Either way, they end up. Dean Douglas is the champion, and then he's fighting Razor.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And this match was actually pretty good.
It wasn't a bad match.
The ending of it, however, was controversial. The back suplex where at the 2 count,
that was so stupid.
Razor supposedly puts his shoulder up, but Dean Douglas kind of has his leg draped out of the ring.
Under the ring, yeah.
Yeah. And Razor gets the victory, and Douglas is irate. It also makes me wonder, was that the ending of the match for Shawn and him?
I have no idea. I thought it was
Shawn screwing Dean Douglas over. That would have made sense, but
this
didn't make sense.
I think they were trying to do that to further the feud between Razor and Dean Douglas, which was going nowhere because Scott Hall hated Dean Douglas. Everybody hated him. Unfortunately,
it
was the whole clique. It was the whole clique that hated him.
And if you were hated by them, you weren't going. That's why they were left.
Yeah, I thought that was a stupid ending. So
yeah, unfortunately, this guy was never given a
former
chance.
IC champion. Jesus,
he was never given the chance in his 2 runs in WWE.
No, all the talent in the world, and just for whatever reason, rub people the wrong way, bad gimmick, whatever you want to click. I don't know, but
yeah, he had no problem in ECW. Practically ran that place, and then even when he went to WCW, he still had a good run.
Well, you're talking about his second run because his first run was garbage.
His first run, well, he was tag champion.
Yeah, I know, but
at least they put him with Steamboat.
Yeah, that's true. But
I mean, his second run with Revolution was pretty good when he had, Malenko.
But by then, the problem is by then nobody was watching WCW.
No, not really. Yeah. After this famous January 4th, 1999, it was pretty much gone to crap.
All downhill. So there you go, Razor Ramon, four-time
Intercontinental champion.
Which back then was a big deal. Now you can win 100 times, nobody cares. But back then that was a huge deal.
Well, right now the record is still 9. I think
Oh Jesus.
it's held by Jericho, and I believe the Miz is also a 9-time champion.
I don't
Which,
see
by the way, real quick, I'll tell you who's going to break Ric Flair's 16 time, and it's not going to be John Cena.
his daughter.
Yep, because guess who's 14-time champion?
If that even
Anyway,
counts, I guess, but whatever. Anyway,
I hope not.
so
In any event, now we get to our main event, which I enjoyed this whole thing. This whole setup, storyline telling to Survivor Series. Big Daddy Cool Diesel putting the title on the line against the number one contender, British Bulldog, which I think was about 2 months too late because I really thought after SummerSlam they should have had this match instead of the all title match.
yeah, because he had turned on him already.
Yeah, so this was waiting a little too
The
long.
number one.
Yeah, and of course Bret Hart is at ringside to do commentary, and it didn't take long in this match for things to escalate because especially. And Brett wasn't trying to do anything. I kind of went back a few times just to look at it. Brett was just trying to hold Diesel from falling into the table. Diesel turns around and
shoves him,
gives him the little paintbrush there.
I think that was in the Monday Night intro, right? Monday Night Raw. I think in the intro they would show that clip when he was
oh yeah,
sometime in Raw, I guess 95 or something.
And of course Vince is kissing his butt because
Cornette
it's Brett.
Cornette is interfering all over the place.
Oh my God, it was insane.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Bulldog wins by disqualification, and mainly because Brett gets hit
because he hit Brett. Bulldog hits Brett, right? He hits him outside the ring.
He smacks him, and Brett goes into the ring, which I think was out of line. I don't think Brett should have did that. I know that's the way they wanted the storyline to go, but now this is just aggravating Diesel even more because now not only do you have a tag match that you just lost this match. He's going to lose to Wayland Mercy coming up. So he's going to put him in a real foul mood going into Survivor Series because his luck has run out, unfortunately.
Maybe him and Brett get into that scuffle in the ring and then they're
they Pier 6 brawl, they would call, I remember Monsoon would have called it that. Yeah. They had to be broken up. They're just going at each other.
And this is just setting up their match at Survivor Series, basically, because Brett was the number one contender. So
yep. Finally, after a wasted year.
Yeah. So well, I thought this In Your House was all right. I don't think it was anything great.
It wasn't, but it was a good build up to Survivor Series.
What they were setting up.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
You had a debut of Goldust and Crybaby Kid. What do you want?
Yeah. All right, you guys let us know what you think. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. See you guys soon.
Take care.